In the suffocating darkness of the Bellaire House attic, three paranormal investigators stood frozen, their hearts pounding as a cold mist rose from the old wooden floor. In the blink of an eye, the fog swirled around them, transforming into thousands of pitch-black snakes slithering across their feet and up their bodies. Even more terrifying, the snakes began to merge into a towering dark entity that loomed before the attic window. Thousands of tiny pearl-like eyes glittered in the shadows, staring at them with unspeakable malice. The team screamed, bolting down the stairs, abandoning all their equipment, fleeing the house as if their very lives depended on it. This is just one of the many terrifying tales surrounding the Bellaire House, considered one of the most haunted houses in America. Bellaire, Ohio, a small town that once thrived as a center for glass production in the late 19th century, is now known as an all-American city and a familiar setting in many Hollywood films. Nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood of the town stands the Bellaire House, a two-story Victorian-style home built in 1887 by Cole Baron Jacob Hetherington. Over time, it has become the center of spine-chilling whispers. Many believe that this house is not just a home, but a gateway to supernatural forces, making it one of the most terrifying haunted locations not just in the US but possibly in the world. The house sits in a particularly eerie location, right next to ancient Native American burial caves, and on a site that once witnessed a gruesome massacre during the French and Indian War. To add to the ominous history, the Bellaire House was built directly above an active coal mine, where a catastrophic explosion claimed the lives of dozens of miners deep beneath the ground. Rumors say this tragedy may have opened a supernatural portal, allowing entities not of this world to invade the house. Strange occurrences began soon after the explosion, when Jacob's son Alex and his granddaughter Lyde moved into the residence. After moving into the Bellaire House, Alex Hetherington began experiencing horrific nightmares and disturbing hallucinations. He claimed that demons were chasing him, trying to kill him. His mental state quickly deteriorated, eventually landing him in a psychiatric hospital, where he spent the rest of his life in madness. Meanwhile, Lyde, Jacob's granddaughter, took over the family business with her younger brother Edward. But tragedy struck again when Edward suddenly and mysteriously died in the kitchen of the house. Consumed by grief, Lyde turned to the spiritual world, holding frequent seances in the same kitchen where Edward died, desperate to contact his spirit. Many believe these seances may have unintentionally widened the supernatural portal, inviting even darker entities into the Bellaire House. From the land's bloody past and the coal mine tragedy beneath it to the occult rituals performed within its walls, the Bellaire House is more than just a historic home. It is a vessel of chilling mysteries, waiting to test the courage of anyone brave enough to step inside. In the chilling darkness of the Bellaire House, where the old wooden walls seemed to whisper horrifying secrets, the Lee family stepped into a nightmare they never saw coming. In 2005, Kristin Lee, along with her two sons Nicholas and Lenny and her father, sought refuge in this old Victorian house after a flood took away their previous home. With its shimmering cherry wood floors and a porch overlooking the Ohio River, the house appeared to be a perfect dream. But beneath its charming facade lurked a malevolent presence, waiting for the moment to reveal its terrifying nature. Kristin, weary but hopeful, was drawn in by the home's affordability and spacious layout, perfect for her family. She imagined peaceful evenings by the river, the kids playing in the backyard with their dog Bella. But from the moment they crossed the threshold, a strange unease settled over her. The quiet creaks of the wooden floorboards felt like the house was breathing, and fleeting shadows at the corners of her vision made her shudder. She told herself it was just stress, that old houses naturally make strange sounds. But as she would soon learn, the truth was far more frightening than any comforting excuse. Those first nights in the Bellaire House became a symphony of fear. Heavy footsteps echoed from the attic above, slow, deliberate, as if someone were silently pacing in the dark. They traveled down the stairs, sometimes right above Kristin as she lay in bed, her heart pounding. "Someone's up there," she whispered to herself, but every time she checked, the attic was empty. The sensation of being watched clung to her like a shadow. Thousands of unseen eyes seemed to bore into her every move. "I felt like I was never alone," she later recalled with a trembling voice. "Even when I was." The strange occurrences didn't stop. Keys, towels, jewelry, all vanished without a trace, as if swallowed by the house itself. One moment they were there, the next, gone, leaving only confusion and unease. Kristin tried to stay calm for the children, but even their dog Bella grew anxious, barking frantically at empty corners, her fur standing on end, as if she sensed something humans couldn't see. The one most affected was Nicholas, her sensitive 12-year-old son. In his bedroom, he began to feel a terrifying presence, as though someone was standing directly behind him, breathing cold air down his neck. At night, he was tormented by nightmares, waking up drenched in sweat, screaming from the sensation of invisible hands gripping his throat. But the most horrifying moment came during a thunderstorm, when a flash of lightning split the night sky. Nicholas opened his eyes, his heart pounding, and saw it, a tall, shadowy figure standing silently in the corner of his room near the closet. Its eyes, if they could be called that, were two hollow voids sucking in all the light around them. When the lightning flashed again, the figure began to tremble as if trying to escape its own twisted form. Nicholas screamed, bolting from his room, his small feet trembling on the cold hallway floor. He pounded on his mother's door, tears streaming down his face, begging to be let in. "There's something in my room," he cried. "It wants to kill me." Kristin, who held a master's degree in psychology, initially tried to reason that it was stress and childhood imagination. But deep down she knew something was wrong. The panic in Nicholas's eyes wasn't something that could be faked. In the end, she had no choice but to send him to live with his grandmother 30 minutes away, hoping to protect him from whatever was lurking in the shadows of the Bellaire house. But Kristin herself wasn't spared from the house's torment. One frigid winter night, while the family slept on the first floor to save on heating costs, she was awakened by a heavy pressure on her legs. Opening her eyes in the darkness, she froze in terror. A pale, translucent figure stood before her. Its face, if it could be called that, was expressionless and cold, with eyes as deep and endless as black holes. "Who are you? What do you want?" Kristin screamed, her voice cracking with fear. But the ghost said nothing, only stared silently, like a warning from beyond the grave. Then, in an instant, it vanished. Before she could catch her breath, Bella's frenzied barking erupted, shattering the silence. The dog darted back and forth through the room, as if chasing something only she could see. Kristin noticed her breath visible in the air, despite the fireplace still burning. And then, right before her eyes, the ghost reappeared, gliding silently across the room, passing through the wall and disappearing once more. This time she couldn't deny it. The Bellaire house was no ordinary home, it was a prison of spirits and demons. Kristin woke her husband, frantic, recounting everything she had seen. But he dismissed it as exhaustion, insisting she just needed rest. But Kristin knew better. She wasn't crazy. What she had seen was real, and it was hunting her family. With a heavy heart, she began planning their escape from the Bellaire house, even if it meant losing everything they had. But the question remains, could they ever truly escape the grip of the entity that haunted the house, or would it follow them wherever they went? In the dense darkness of the Bellaire house, where the very walls seemed saturated with decades of fear, Kristin Lee faced a painful decision. Unable to sell the house due to its haunted reputation and with her finances in ruins, Kristin came up with a bold idea: turn the Bellaire house into a destination for paranormal investigators. She had no idea that this decision would open a new chapter, one where terrifying stories would continue to be written by those brave enough to step into the house's shadows. The house, now like a beacon drawing in both curious and reckless souls, became a hotspot for supernatural researchers from across the US and Canada. They arrived with cameras, EVP recorders, and nerves of steel, but many left with shaken hearts and memories that could never be erased. The Bellaire house wasn't just haunted, it was an arena where humans faced forces far beyond their comprehension. One of the first teams to enter was two female investigators from upstate New York who called themselves soul doctors. With backgrounds in life and death, one a midwife, the other a hospice nurse, they believed they were prepared for anything. But the Bellaire house quickly proved them wrong. The moment they stepped inside, a chill crept over them as though the house itself was watching. In daylight, the cherrywood interior seemed warm and inviting, but when night fell, the air turned heavy. Footsteps echoed from empty rooms, knocks came from unseen walls, and an eerie sense of being watched by thousands of invisible eyes sent shivers down their spines. The breaking point came during a chilling night in the basement, when a thunderous crash, like a bookshelf being hurled across the room, shook the entire house. Panicked, the women fled, abandoning their equipment and belongings, never daring to look back. "We felt like something wanted us gone," one of them later whispered, still trembling. Such stories were not uncommon. Numerous groups reported being scratched, shoved on the stairs, even hurled across rooms by unseen forces. One local Ohio team, seasoned with multiple visits, had a chilling encounter that made them question the true nature of the house. During a late-night spirit box session in the attic, a thick fog began to rise from the floor. Before their eyes, it transformed into thousands of jet-black snakes slithering across their feet, then merging into a towering figure with countless tiny glowing eyes like deadly jewels. "That thing wasn't human," one member murmured before the entire team bolted down the stairs, swearing never to return. Among the entities said to haunt the Bellaire House, one name stands out: Emily Davis, believed to be the spirit of a young girl who drowned in the nearby Ohio River. Many believe her room was the very one where Kristin's son Nicholas once suffered horrifying nightmares. The basement and Emily's room are hotspots of activity, where investigators often record children's cries, whispers, and fleeting ghostly figures. But is Emily truly an innocent spirit? Many who tried to communicate with her were attacked, pushed, scratched, or overcome by a dark, suffocating energy. This has led some to theorize that Emily is no child at all, but a demonic entity in disguise, using a childlike image to lure in victims. "It knows how to manipulate you," one investigator warned. "You think you're speaking to a child and then it shows you what it really is." Some believe the Bellaire House is a supernatural gateway, opened by the nearby coal mine tragedy, seances conducted by Lyde Hetherington, or other occult rituals in the past. This portal, they say, allows not only human spirits but darker entities, those that don't belong to this world, to pass through. Several investigators have even reported that the phenomena followed them home, invading their dreams and personal lives, as if the Bellaire House refuses to let go of anyone who enters. Today, the Bellaire House remains a destination for those daring enough to face their fears. Paranormal teams continue to arrive, equipped with technology and a thirst for truth, but many leave with psychological scars that never heal. The house stands tall by the Ohio River, its alluring facade hiding a deadly secret. It is not merely haunted, it is a living entity, devouring the courage of anyone who dares challenge it. If you ever consider stepping into the Bellaire House, remember this warning: what you encounter there may not just be a spirit. It might be something older, hungrier, and it won't let you leave without leaving its mark. The Bellaire House is not just a home, it is a curse, and those who pass through its doors may forever become part of its terrifying legacy.